Grace and peace, and welcome to 5 Minutes of Faith, presented to you by Believers Ministries, where we are reaching the community with the love of Christ, one person, one family at a time. Join us today as we take excerpts from our guest speaker, Minister Doreen Dawkins from Raymond Christensen.
The purpose of a colonoscopy is to inspect again the lining of the large intestine of the colon, looking for abnormalities. The purpose of the divine colonoscopy is to inspect our lives, looking for and eliminate abnormalities from what God the Creator intended for our lives. So you can't work out your own salvation with fear and trembling unless you submit to God, unless you confess that He is Lord of all, and unless you relinquish control over your life. You cannot schedule your destiny until you have submitted to God. Amen. If at any time the process is not followed, guess what happens? You have wasted that time, because they'll tell you you didn't prepare properly and you ain't gonna get the test. So the first sub-point to the time of preparation is to follow the instructions. Isn't it interesting that many of us, if the doctor say fast, guess what you do? You fast. If they say you can't eat before you have a procedure, guess what you do? You don't eat. But don't let the Lord tell us to fast for half a meal. Oh, now wait a minute. I don't think I better pray again. I don't think I heard that right. Oh, no. If they say no matter what God tells you, if it's contrary to what we want to do, oh, no. I didn't hear from the Lord on that. No. I was eating chicken the night before, maybe pizza. Ate too late. But if an earthly authority tells us to do something, we sure will do it. I bet you this. I bet if they said, you know what we're going to do? Of the tithe payers, we're going to give $1 million and put your name in the hat. Guess what? Everybody pay the tithes then. Because there might be a reward. But don't be thinking about, ultimately, just God said it, and that should settle it. We should do it. And in the meantime, I had an appointment at my regular doctor who's also over 50. And she's hilarious. I was talking to her and I said, well, we were talking about the procedure. And, I didn't ask a lot of different people their opinion of what they took and all this. And so I went there, I said, Dr. Brown, now here's the deal. You got me signed up for this nasty stuff. I heard this stuff is nasty. I want you to switch me to the stuff you mix with Gatorade. And she looked at me, she said, Doreen, I am not going to switch. You can call up there and get it switched yourself, but the people who switch with Gatorade, that don't work for everybody. And she said, the stuff that we got you on works for 90%, 99 or something percent of the people. And so you said you were boxing. That is how crazy. She said, you said you were boxing. You're not going to come back up here and beat me up because we done switched that prescription and it didn't work. I can see it now. Nope, you gonna keep this prescription because it's gonna work. And so I said, okay. But isn't that interesting? We sometimes compare what God has prescribed for us to be successful in our lives with what other people have, what God has prescribed for someone else. And we think their little preparation is easier, so we say, oh, I'm going to prepare like them. Well, their preparation is for what they was called to do, not what you were called to do. And that's probably not going to work for you, because guess what? If it would have worked for you, that would be the path that God had for your life. Right. Sometimes we don't learn from other people's mistakes. We just dumb enough to make the same mistake that somebody else did. No, not me. I will wear you out with 50 million questions. Probably to the point where you have to say none of your business. Because guess what? I don't want to make the same mistake you made. But our problem many times is we want people to think we know everything instead of asking. And let me give you a revelation. It's not from the Doreen. You ain't that smart. You don't know everything. You might know some things, but you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Now, during the time when you're drinking this stuff, now you might want to get on that phone and receive some sympathy. But let me tell you, you ain't got time to be on the phone. You got to go. When it's time to go, you got to go. And you might want to say, oh, it'd be nice to have a visitor. No, you can't have no visitors. Because, you just can't. You got to be by yourself. And there's no time for talking. But probably do Lord, now wait a minute. Lord, I promise I won't eat that much anymore. Boy, no, where you trying to make all kind of deals with the Lord. But there are seasons you might want people to be there, but they can't be there for whatever the reason. That's just the way it is. That's just life. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him. If you recall, David was one of the mighty warriors of God, and he was a king. Because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his son and for his daughters. They had gone to battle, and guess what? The enemy came and took their sons and daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord and God. So sometimes you got to learn how to encourage yourself when you can't find nobody to encourage you. When you think that you can't take another nothing, you better learn how to get some scriptures and encourage yourself in the Lord. Put on some praise music and get some scriptures that are related to the situation to which you're going through.
Amen. The Lord has encouraged you today, and we'd like to take this time to cordially invite you to join us for service. And we're located at 465 Waterbury Court, Suite E, Gahanna, Ohio. For more information about our services, feel free to visit the web at www.believersministries.net.